Welcome back to the FanSpeak Network and another episode of the NFL Betting Card Live. I'm Meg, and I'm, of course, joined every Thursday at 3 with Spread Astaire, Tyler Hicks. Tyler will be joining us shortly. So I'm so lucky to talk to these guys every week, and we break down the whole NFL betting card. And we go through the spreads, the totals, the anytime touchdowns, the props. Then we talk a little Thursday night. So we'll get into the Thursday night game later. But let me go to my guy Spread. Also, by the way, these guys, Tyler and Spread, are crushing in the NBA streets. You can follow all their NBA, NFL picks, projections, everything on fanspeak.com for free. Go to fanspeak.com, NFL betting cards right there. Go to the sports betting tab. Both their NFL and NBA treasure maps are right there. You can see all their projections, all their picks. And of course, we'll have our NFL betting card updated for each and every slate, including right after this show for Thursday night and early look. So Spread, how are you doing? Are you ready for week 13? I cannot believe it's already week 13.
Yeah, I'm doing great. And of course, I think I told you right before we started, I think this is a tough week here. The final thought is just these mid-range teams are all so good, are also equal. It's tough to really decide. And then the chasm between the very good and the very bad, maybe leaving some on the table, avoiding some of these larger spreads, as the favorites seem to be coming through on these double-digit or more spreads more than ever. I know that's not a good thing for me to say here as I'm looking at the Commanders catching 9.5. But yeah, I think it's a tough week with some interesting matchups and not to belabor the points, right? But with the lack of offensive line play, I think really degrading what we're seeing from these quarterbacks. It's tough to get some offense going. And I think that's why these games have become so variant. Comes down to one special teams play, who lands on a fumble, who muffs a punt. You know, even against the Steelers-Browns game, I mean, that was an old school field position game where I felt the Browns won that game with their punter.
Yep.
It felt like he was getting an extra 10 yards every punt compared to the Steelers punter. Haven't seen that for a while. But
yeah, that's totally old school, right? You know, that is not. Not
so it's funny how they made all these rules to increase scoring, but the one rule that screwed them was ruining these OTAs, and these lines aren't there. And that's what's going ahead and costing the scoring. But
I agree with you a ton about the offensive line being one of the big I mean, I think there's many. We've talked about different things as to why scoring is down, but I agree with you on the OTAs and practice schedules, or you know however you want to frame it, and just the offensive line play being down. And I also think, because I think a lot of best ball people want to know, like, kind of we'll look at the injury situation to quarterbacks, right? And just be like, well, this is just noise. It's not sticky. Maybe it's a little sticky, because I believe there was like 65, nearly 70 quarterbacks played in 2022. So this isn't like the first year that we saw a lot of quarterbacks get injured. Are quarterbacks getting injured at a higher clip because the offensive line play is so down? Obviously, we think that's why a big catalyst for why scoring is down. I mean, I think there's some real kind of sticky reasons to all this, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, we're in lockstep here. We almost agree every single week and keep pointing at this problem. Yeah. But you know what, Meg? I don't think it's going to get fixed because these ratings keep going up. Did you see the Thanksgiving night game?
Oh, the game was
that
terrible.
Wasn't even a good game.
No, but everybody watches. Yeah, of course. But I mean, again, now with sports betting legal in a lot of states, with of course daily fantasy, then you have different things like, you know, underdog games and best ball and all these things that people are invested in, have skin in the game. Like, you take that all away. If we didn't have that, I think that's what's keeps people watching. I mean, of course, NFL's always been king, always will be king. But I mean, these obviously every aspect of betting, sport, best ball, DFS is helping people, sit through a Bears Vikings game on Monday, Seattle 49ers game on Thanksgiving night. Why else would we watch?
Yeah. And that's the case. So it should be a fun one for this week here. And we'll have a little extra time here to talk about some of these other games. So I'll definitely want to get your thoughts, because Tyler and I, if you look at the sheet right now, there's a lot of leans. But I think I can be convicted on a lot of these here. One thing I'm noticing is that my numbers are dialing in, which doesn't give me just the numerical edges.
Okay.
So really having to dig deep, dive into some trends, look at the way the teams are playing, check the matchups. One of my new favorite ones, and this has been popular, I think, with a lot of betting podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
How not just a quarterback's rating, but how do they do against a specific defense?
Sure. Yeah.
How do
That
they
makes
do
sense.
against the zone? How do they do against man? How do they do
Mm-hmm.
against the blitz? This is why I think sports betting is so much fun. It's you can't just keep running the same numbers.
Right.
These numbers keep evolving, and I think that some of these bettors are figuring out. Well, hey, if I actually run the numbers against a specific defense, I'm getting a more accurate prediction or projection.
Yeah.
Sports books are going to catch on to that pretty soon here.
Right.
So I can't wait to see how that continues to work. But that's the type of stuff we need to be looking at, because simply using the statistics right now, it's getting you pretty close to the numbers that they're posting.
Right. Okay. That makes a ton of sense. And you always have such rational, good takes that help me like approach a week. And that's why I like kind of starting this week, because honestly, I'm kind of behind this week. As you know, Steve had a huge win. My brother Steve had a huge win on Thursday and Sunday for short slate. So we were like strategizing and doing all this short slate content. We just got off a short slate show. Tim was there. Tim won $50 on the in the
There you
giveaway.
go.
So
All right.
thank you for joining us, Tim, and thank you for joining us on this show. So check out our short slate content on FanSpeak Network every Thursday at 2 and on fanspeak.com every Saturday. We've got, of course, Clyde in the chat, says, what's up, Spread? What should you do for Survivor? We got Tyler join the stage soon. What do you think? I'm not a big Survivor person. Are you, Spread? Have you been doing the Survivor this year?
Yeah, you know what I did? I was out because I actually forgot to submit my picks. Do you ever hear about that where people, how could you forget? Well, that was me this year.
Okay.
Yeah. I was alive in 3 of the 4 entries. It was that Reno week that was just so wild for me.
Yeah. Sometimes
I forgot to do it that week.
That's why
I was so frustrated.
I was traveling back today, back to Baltimore. And so I'm behind. I'm trying to like catch up. I'm going to be doing a ton of research, tonight and basically all day tomorrow to get, everything finalized in my head for DFS, for Underdog, for sports betting. But this is a great starting point to just talk things through.
At quick glance, if you haven't used the Chargers yet, this might be the week.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
against the Patriots. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Right. Just because some of the other ones you might want to save.
And then maybe one pick that you're going to talk about in a minute. Okay, let's bring Tyler in now. Tyler, how's it going? It's good to see you. We obviously just were doing some casual talking about the slate and kind of how difficult it can be to kind of find those edges. But what are you thinking for week 13?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit better of a slate than last week. Last week's slate was ugly. Like, that was a very ugly slate on Sunday. The games didn't make any sense, really. I mean, how many times are you going to see Stafford throw for 350-plus yards, 4 touchdowns? And Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp did absolutely nothing in that game.
That was insane.
There's just a bunch of wild outcomes. There's some weird matchups. There's a fun matchup, too, at this 4 o'clock slate.
Oh, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. We'll talk it through. Well, we will get there. But first, and maybe we'll get there in this conversation and talking through your all's favorite spreads of the week. Also, if you're in here joining us, thank you. We appreciate you joining us each and every Thursday. Be sure to like this episode, subscribe to the FanSpeak Network, and be sure to check out I'll have the betting card update an hour after the show and for the Thursday slate and their early picks. And of course, I'll have it updated for Sunday, and it's updated for each and every slate. That's all free on fanspeak.com. So now it's time to, break down our betting card, guys, one at a time. Let's talk spreads first. Spread, what is your favorite spread of the week?
Oh, right. Like I said, it's tough to identify the very best teams in the NFL, especially when you move out of the top 4 or 5. But what we can identify, Meg, is the worst teams in the NFL. Yeah. So that was the approach that we took this week when we laid 5.5 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The only concern here for me would be the quote-unquote new coach bump. Frank Reich, 1-10 so far this season. And obviously compound the disaster, there's no draft pick to look forward to bail you out of the mess. As that's not going to age well here. But that's the situation they're in, and they're going to have to keep fighting. They also fired Deuce Staley. How could they do that? Wasn't he so good on Hard Knocks? Yeah, it was showing more mistakes from that front office. Josh McCown also dismissed. He was the quarterback's coach. And of course, we remember him and Kate. I don't even remember who was who, but felt like they were sticking around forever as like the super backups. Special teams coach Chris Tabor will serve as interim head coach. You can help me with that. I don't know what to make of that at all. I'm not familiar with them. But giving everyone the information here. Bryce Young, 29th in total QBR, 32.3 meg. Oh, how much does it hurt to mortgage your future for a guy to give you a 32.3 QBR? He near the bottom of passer rating at 74.9. The Panthers offense ranks 30th in total yards per game at 265.9. They're 30th in passing yards at 173.3 and 29th in scoring. I wonder who 30th is. I'll have to look that up. 15.7 per game. But on the bright side, they're 28th in rushing. Meg. So hey, you got that going there for him at 92.6. And we did have a rough one with the Bucks last week. We took them over the Colts. Final score was 27-20. Watching that game, it didn't necessarily feel as close. We had a chance to steal it there at the end, but I feel like the right side won. Regardless, I still like the Bucks to bounce back, coming off a loss. Hopefully, we'll get a focus week in practice. They have the much better weapons. I mean, look at the wide receiver cores here. And the
Mike
Panthers,
Evans last week. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
It's not like the Bucks have a great offensive line, but it's much better than the Panthers. One bright side for the Panthers has been the play of the defense, but I just don't think the offense is going to be able to keep up. Give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers -5.5.
I love that. And I love everything you say about like how the NFL has so many like top heavy, bottom heavy, we've got the top 4 teams, we've got the bottom teams, and then so many in the middle. And that is an excellent point of why each and every week the card is so hard. And I like the just attacking a terrible team. Unfortunately, that is the Panthers this year, and that is this offense. So I really like that pick. I'm totally with you on that. Tyler, what is your spread of the week? Is this going to be our debate, or do you have something else?
No, we'll save the debate. I won't make that the official play.
Okay.
I'll give you something you like here.
Okay.
Detroit -4 in a
I'll
dome.
take that. I'll take that.
Saints, who look like the biggest fraud in the NFL.
I think they're fraudulent.
Derek Carr is a detriment to every wide receiver in the NFL. He ruins their minds. He sends them to jail. We've seen what happened with a lot of his receivers. And not only does he send them to jail and their minds go crazy, but all the receivers on the Saints are hurt right now. I know Olave might likely play. He might pass concussion protocol. That's only one guy, though. It'll be him and Kamara. Carr's still going to turn the ball over. Detroit off that stinging loss on Thanksgiving. They want to bounce back. It's the perfect spot for them to bounce back. I think they smash them.
I love that pick. I mean, I'm so bullish on wanting, the Detroit offense to just go nuclear because of my best ball shares. But I really do think they're a fun team to watch. Dan Campbell and that team. And I love rooting for an underdog. Listen, Detroit, I can't remember the last time they're in the playoffs. I felt so bad for their fans, probably the first Thanksgiving where they're like, oh, this is, so fired up to, have such a, the division leader on Thanksgiving and didn't get the win there. So they got to be coming back. Yeah. Itching to get this win. And I love them to smash this weekend too. Clyde said Baker ankle injury, not 100%. Any concerns about that spread before we move on? Okay.
Nope. Okay. Let me move on the Saints, or let me jump in on the Saints.
Please.
Saints 2-8-1 against the spread this season. So even when they're catching points, they haven't been doing well.
Yeah.
Lions 4-1 ATS on the road this season. Perfect 3-0 against the spread as the road favorite. The Saints defense does have 20 takeaways this season, so Goff's going to have to take that down a bit here.
Yeah.
So just a couple more factors here. Detroit's been doing much better on the road than we had normally catapult them in, and the Saints have always been bad against the spread under head coach Dennis Allen, who I believe, and maybe the stats have updated and changed, but the last time I checked, he's the worst current against the spread coach in the NFL.
Oh, okay. Wow. That is something. Well, these are 2 X marks the spot on these guys' NFL treasure map. You can find that on fanspeak.com. And of course,
we also took the team total over.
Okay. So do you like the spread and the team total over, or are you going to mark both? Okay. I like it. I want to make sure I'll mark that. I'm going to do that right after this show. It'll be updated within an hour after the show. We will get that all updated. Okay. Any other spread talk before we talk totals? Or do you want to talk about are we talking Eagles 49ers now, or are we talking Eagles 49ers later?
Can we just talk through some of these games that we didn't get there on?
Yeah, because I think you should get there on the 49ers.
Okay. Chargers and Patriots. Any interest there in the Chargers? I was fine staying away from that one, Meg. What did you think?
What's the line there? I'm looking.
They're laying 5.5 in New England.
I mean, I do
Remember,
like that.
But in New England, though, that's the little tricky part here.
I do think there could be. This is just another factor. Some East Coast weather. I got to see what is going to be where, as far as really bad. But I've heard that there's some potential weather along the East Coast that might be something to consider too.
The Falcons are traveling to New York to take on the Jets, Meg. I know this seems crazy, but do you think the Falcons will really fall apart outside of being the Southern Dome team? Or am I maybe looking into this and just not factoring in that the Jets might have the worst quarterback in the league right now?
Well, they've got the worst quarterback in the league. But do we get any? I'm not as worried about the Falcons falling apart. My question is this whole Rodgers window opening. I think there's got to be, the chance has got to be so slim that he comes back. But do they just play, does the defense just elevate so much more with the hopes that he's practicing? Maybe we do get him back in 2 weeks. I don't know. Again, it seems so outlier to me still, but does that give any kind of bump?
Yeah, I think the Jets could be a sneaky money line pick, but we couldn't get there. Did you see Tyler Steelers are laying 5.5?
Oh, okay.
I love them in that spot, but I feel like they adjusted the line correctly. I don't think the Steelers offense is ready to be laying 5.5 points.
I was going to say, yeah, I love the Steelers to win this game, obviously. And hey, I mean, good news for Tyler. Offense looked a lot better without Matt Canada, as we all hoped. Pickett threw for almost 300 yards. They seem to get all the weapons going a little better. So I don't know, Tyler, I have to ask you as a Steelers fan, were you pumped to just see improvement?
Yeah, it was nice to see improvement. They actually used the middle of the field, which opens up the run game. So, yeah. I mean, they just got to keep improving on that. And I want to see more out of Kenny Pickett.
Sure.
They won the game. They put up a ton of yards, but he still didn't look the best. So put up those yards, turn some of those into touchdowns. Maybe I won't try and kick you out of Pittsburgh anymore.
Give him some time. Let's see. I mean, he's got a great matchup against the Arizona.
I think he's going to be a great career backup for you.
Oh, geez. So for one of Spread's 18 college prospects to come in.
Yeah, there might be even more. Wait till I watch some bowl games, Meg. I'll probably identify a few more future Hall of Famers.
Oh my God. We got Steve used to go down to the Senior Bowl. We got to send you to the Senior Bowl to Spread.
Can you imagine?
I mean, there's a lot of good ones.
Send me to the Shrine game.
Steve went to that one. Steve went to the Shrine game too for a couple of years, and then he went to.
When I was a kid, that was the biggest one.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, that used to be the one where you really made your name. I overrate the Titans so much. I wanted to take them this week, and Tyler almost extended his hand all the way from Pennsylvania to slap me across the face for trying to take Will Levis. What do you think of the Colts and the Titans, Meg?
That one just seems like a stay away for me.
Okay.
You can get me on the Steelers, though. Laying 5.5 seems, 5.5 seems a bridge too far for me. You could get me on the Chargers just because, again, as they said in chat, are the Patriots even going to score? You could talk me into that, but you can't.
If the Patriots can find a way to make the offense look good, it wouldn't surprise me if the Chargers were somehow involved. They've taken charging to a whole new level.
They really have. But you could talk me into the Chargers. You could talk me into the Steelers. Again, I do think that line, the Steelers line especially, is a little big, even though I like them to win. But I don't think you can talk me in to taking a side on the Colts Titans. I don't know. It's just tough. I don't know if I can trust. I'm just not in a position to trust Will Levis yet.
He's not even the best quarterback in that game.
Yeah, yet. I mean, I think
he had one good game.
Right.
He had one good game, and he hasn't been good. Since then, he's had two.
All the passes to one guy, and then just so happened to find a guy in busted coverage for a fourth touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He sucks.
That's a good point.
I don't know if he sucks. He's just needs some more development.
He needs more time. So, yeah, you can't get me to back Will Levis. So, yeah, I'm not picking a side there.
Are you taking the 9.5 with your Commanders?
I mean, I always do because I'm a delusional Washington fan.
Can you actually make a case for it though?
Not a strong one. I mean, you could make the case, and Steve's in chat, so he'll probably immediately disagree with me. You could make the case when some of these coaching changes, sometimes there's a bump. Usually it's more with the offensive side, like Tyler saw last week with his Steelers. You make a coordinator change. But with the coordinator change, Rivera's apparently going to simplify the defense. But like Steve said, I said, do you think that, because I want to go all in DFS on Dolphin stacks, right? And I want to go all in on Dolphins props. So I said to Steve, do you think that changes anything from maybe it's a little better? And he's like, no, our personnel on defense in the secondary is still, and linebackers are still awful. So that can't affect that when you're going up against Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Raheem Astaire. They've let running backs go wild on them. So yeah, I can't make a strong case. That would just be a delusion.
Yeah, some tough stats here. And they do make the case for that Dolphin stack. Washington 29th overall on 377 yards per game allowed. 32nd in scoring defense, allowing 29 points per game. Then you look at the Dolphins, they're either number 1 or number 2 in all 4 major offensive categories. So it feels like the Dolphin stack is the way to go. The main only argument is it's going to be too chalky.
Hey, on stuff like that, that's how Steve won on Thanksgiving. He won with a Dallas onslaught. And again, that's short slate. And again, that's check out our short slate content. But especially in short slate, you can just onslaught a team and then just find contrarian pieces around it. Or, you can absolutely, stack a chalky stack and then find contrarian pieces around it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Or do kind of what Steve did in the short slate. You could even do like what most people won't and do like add Astaire to the stack or something like that. A chain, if you think see what they're saying about his usage and utilization and stuff like that before you make a decision on the running back. But adding a running back to the stack might make it a little less chalky in total. So I think doing stuff like that, but don't get away from the Dolphins. I don't think that's the answer. I think we want Dolphins props. I think we want Dolphins stacks. I think that's the answer, and to find contrarian pieces elsewhere. Basically, that's how I'm at least handling it as of Thursday at 3:30.
Final question for you, man. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, DFS wise, isn't this the spot where like the end up winning lineup is like all the weapons in this game? Well, all the Miami weapons, and then like Sam Howell naked on the other side.
Yep. You could do
it's going to be some little 4K quarterback that goes off.
Yeah, because he spreads it out so much. You absolutely could do that. I mean, he spreads it out so much. Or you could spread it out with like an uber cheap piece, or like, if you want to throw Logan Thomas in there or something like that. But yeah, absolutely, you could do that. You could double stack and have Hal to save some money, or Mostert, Hill. So absolutely, I 100% agree with that.
What question for you, Meg?
Sure.
Broncos Texans. Can't believe this is just from a fan's perspective, one of the most interesting games of the week.
It is.
You don't bet. You're just a fan of the NFL.
Right.
Broncos have won 5 in a row.
Right.
Texans are turning things around and look to have the piece of the most important position, quarterback here.
Mm-hmm.
Texans laying 3.5 though seems a little heavy.
I know.
What do you think here?
I don't have a strong take on this one too. I don't feel comfortable. It wouldn't be a comfortable click for me bet either way.
But who would you click?
God, that Broncos defense has really turned things around. And maybe I need to look into more about all their matchups, because Steve and I talked about that a little too in breaking some things down for what the Broncos have done. I'd have to look at all their matchups, because I want to believe a lot of the quarterbacks have not been outside. They did, Allen was one of the quarterbacks, but outside of Josh Allen, I want to say that a lot of quarterbacks have been weaker. So is the defense really turned around? Russ is still game manager. He's still not throwing for much over 200 yards. So he's been efficient, and getting it to, distributing it to the right weapons. I don't know. I'm struggling with this one. So who would I click? Probably still Texans at home, but not comfortable at all. Who would you guys click?
I was thinking about taking the points, but I didn't love it.
Yeah, I don't love it.
What about you, Tyler?
Which game was that?
Texans.
Broncos.
I like the Texans. It just lines up where it's like better offense, Texans.
Mm-hmm.
Better defense. I'm probably giving it to the Texans. So it's like, where does Denver win this game? Like, you look at their wins recently. Yeah, they beat Buffalo. I don't think that's all that impressive. And they snuck out of that game somehow, winning that game.
Stop with this Buffalo slander.
I don't think they should have won that game, but they somehow snuck out after the terrible 12-man on the field call. They beat up on a couple bad teams. They upset the Chiefs in a spot where the Chiefs lost all their defensive guys. They kind of ran very well through their schedule. And this is the first spot where it's like, all right, there's another team on the other side that can hit back pretty healthy. Yeah. I think they hit back and beat them.
Let me just jump in with a go ahead.
Give it to give me some more. Here. Give me some more stats.
Broncos 6-2 over their last 8, and one of the big reasons is turnovers. So will that translate? Who knows? And that's like, I think when you listen to NFL podcasting and the true scores where they only use yards per play, EPA, things like that, and they take out the turnovers.
Right.
Unfortunately, in real football, you can't do that. But over this 8-game stretch, Broncos have had 21 takeaways. They've only turned the ball over 9 times. So that's a big reason for their success.
Right.
And Meg, quietly, Russell Wilson, remember how much I was slandering him at the beginning of the year?
Yeah.
103.4 passer rating going into Sunday. It'd be the 5th highest passer rating of his 12-year career. So Peyton has done what he planned to do, and that was rehabilitate Russ. And finally, the Texans have been a great story, but his favorites haven't done too well. 0-4 ATS against the spread and 0-3 against the spread as home favorites. So those are some reasons that I'd be looking towards the Broncos.
Yeah, you kind of said it better, more eloquently than I did about, like, I'm trying to, from the Broncos defense side, I'm trying to see, like, is it more signal or noise as the defense turn around? But from the offensive side, you said it better as far as, Russ may not be putting up massive numbers, but Peyton has them playing efficiently. And, but Tyler sells me on the Texans side a little more because I was leaning the Texans, but again, not comfortable either way. But he kind of sold me a little more because I just think that offense is more potent. Go ahead, Tyler.
That and I mean, the 6-2 against the spread in the last 8, it's a good record. But then you go look at it, and same thing with those takeaways where they're getting all the takeaways. It's like they played Cleveland last week. It sent DTR and PJ Walker out there. They weren't generating yards. They were probably turning the ball over. They played Minnesota the week before. Josh Dobbs turning the ball over, not generating much. Week before that, Josh Allen.
That's JC's 6th best quarterback.
Well, these are the guys.
I'm just messing around, but I can't believe you put him so high.
These are bad teams with turnover-prone quarterbacks. Then they play Buffalo. Josh Allen, turnover-prone. KC with Mahomes. I think he leads the league in interceptions, or he's right there at the top. So it's like these guys have all turned over the ball. Jordan Love, another guy that turns over the ball a lot in times. So, like, I think some of those stats could be a little, like, smoke screened by the fact that they've played a cupcake schedule outside of KC.
My only rebuttal is that most NFL stats are smoke screen because the NFL is the epitome of small sample size, especially when you're modeling NBA, NHL, or MLB.
Yeah, very
true. Great points here, and you can see why after talking through this discussion, we didn't have a play.
Of course,
on this side. I think you can make a good argument. But right, if you're just hanging out at the sportsbook this weekend, and some guy comes up to you and he's got a side, hey, I'm about to bet this Texans game, right? You can tell him, yeah, it's a smart pick, right, for whoever he chose, because some good arguments on both sides.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
I mean, winner of this game probably what? Because they're both 6-5. The Colts are also 6-5.
It's like it's not a de facto playoff game, but playoff implications go
very heavy playoff implications with how log jammed this AFC is.
And if you would have told me that after week 1, after the Broncos sleptwalked through preseason, and if I remember right, CJ Stroud lost his debut, right?
I don't know. They lost to the Ravens. Yeah.
I mean, would you?
Right? And he didn't look too good, right?
Fred, would you believe me if I told you the Browns would be 7-4 and their quarterbacks throughout the year, PJ Walker and DTR, would play more than Deshaun Watson?
I wouldn't. I mean, that defense is elite.
Nick Chubb's leg would be snapped in half.
Yeah.
And they're still 7-4. You'd be like, I don't see
the biggest thing. Nick Chubb
right
and the quarterbacks, that is shocking that they are still where they are. But I see why, we just made a point in all these games, the Steelers game, the Chargers game, and especially this game, as to why it's hard to make an X marks the spot and make an official play, because you can, like you said, you could make counter arguments on both sides.
All right, are you ready for some arguments on both sides, Meg?
Yes.
Let's go! Finally, usually you guys team up on me, Tyler. Now you see how it feels.
I was gonna say
today.
So
gonna learn.
So just to set this up, this is obviously the Eagles versus the 49ers NFC Conference Championship rematch in Philly. The Eagles are favored by 3, I believe. Is that still the line?
No, the Niners are favored by 3 right now. It's Philadelphia Eagles +3 at home.
Why did I think 47. Why did I think the Niners were favored or the Eagles were favored? I really thought the Niners or Eagles were favored. Well, I messed it up.
What the line should have been.
Well, just to be clear, Spread, you are on my side on this one, correct? That's why you said Tyler's against the world here?
Yeah.
Okay. So can I give my case? For me. Okay, you give your case, and then I'll give my
mine
case.
Will be quicker.
Okay.
Mine will be quicker. I'm on two reasons. Number one, I don't think Jalen Hurts is 100%.
Correct.
And he's been able to get these wins against some of these lesser teams, but I'd argue that when healthy, the 49ers or the Eagles are the best team in the NFL. But the 49ers are coming to this game much healthier. Mm-hmm. The Eagles defense, which was so dominant last year statistically, and I'm sure you're going to point that out on the fact that they had an easier schedule last season. So they've dropped from 6th in EPA to 26th this season. So while we still view them as this formidable defense, the stats aren't showing that as much as they are showing that this 49ers defense is still formidable. Remember, the 49ers are 20-4 in their last 24 regular season games since trading for McCaffrey. And the ones that they lost was that 3 of those are that slide where everybody's hurt. As a favorite, the 49ers are 13-5-1 against the spread in their last 19 games. The Eagles 1-4 against the spread as home underdogs and 0-3 against the spread in their past 3 games as underdogs. That's all I got. You guys go ahead.
All right. Can I go first, Tyler?
Pile it on, Meg. Pile it on.
Pile it on. You might as well pile it on. We might as well pile it on, Tyler, and let. Well, first of all, you made a lot of the points I'd like to make about. I think the 49ers are much healthier than the Eagles. I think that slide that the 49ers had in the middle of the season before their bye week was largely due to their weapons being banged up. When Purdy has all 4 of those weapons, this offense is just really, really tough to stop. So just that's from a 49ers side about and kind of backing up everything you're saying. Now from the Eagles side, yes, I'm an Eagles hater. I'm a diehard Washington fan. You can see the stuff, long-suffering Washington fan. And I've been an Eagles hater. Believe it or not, I actually think I hate the Eagles way more than the Cowboys. And it feels so weird to say as a Washington fan, but it's true. It's just true. I don't know. It's just been years and years of maybe because I deal with more Eagles fans and living in Baltimore and stuff. And I have friends that are Eagles fans. I don't know. But I hate the Eagles. So this is very biased. But I still think, I had concerns going into the season about 2 new coordinators. I think it's been, and then that they had a much tougher schedule. Now they've gotten through it so far, but I want to point to 2 major things. Number one, I think that they have gotten a lot of breaks on the referee, the whistle, like the calls. Sunday being a perfect analysis. I was going to have photo evidence and try to go full legal lawyer style, but you guys saw it. I don't need to point it out. Like, you saw the horse collar. That shouldn't have been an intentional grounding. There were multiple other holding calls. There was multiple egregious calls that changed the landscape of the game, in my opinion. And then just the luck factor of the Eagles as a Washington fan, and I know I'm not the only one that thinks this, just blows me away. I can cite a couple things from games that I watched with my own 2 eyes. Obviously, both Washington games were very close. The first one in Philly, we took them to overtime. McLaurin, we get the first drive. McLaurin catches a long ball, steps out of bounds by a fraction of an inch. We get a first down there, could continue. We kick the field goal game, and who knows what happens there. Or maybe we go and drive for a touchdown. Anyways, it's a game of inches, right? Dallas game. The Schoonmaker catches a touchdown on the line, gets called back. Dak tries to go for a 2-point conversion, could have made it a field goal game. His foot is out by a fraction of an inch. That kick that they sent to send it to overtime, I didn't think there was a chance in hell he was making a 58-yarder, but he did. He's a good kicker. But in the rain, I didn't think that was happening. I just think a lot of calls, a lot of lucky bounces and breaks. And I just don't think you can run that pure all season long. I just don't think that's going to go that way. And it's not going to go that way when you're playing the 49ers, who I think is the best team in the NFC. I think the Eagles have kind of skated by some and gotten some wins that they shouldn't have. And I think they're going to be proven, I think it's going to come to fruition this week and we're going to see who the true NFC champion will be, should be, or actually, I think the NFC team, I'm just going to say it now. I think the NFC championship is San Francisco, Dallas. So
we probably convinced him, Meg. We probably won't even argue anymore. Did we convince you, Tyler?
I just hear a lot of hate, a lot of salt. There's a lot of salt in that breakdown.
Hate. Oh, there's so much salt. There's so much salt.
I'm the more I look at this
truth
game,
too.
I think there's two ways I'm looking at this game.
Sure.
One, is this the game where it's here, take your victory lap in December, and we'll take ours in January when we beat you guys in the playoffs? Or is this Eagles team going to take this little hard part of their schedule that everyone thought that they were going to lose games? And are they just going to wipe the floor with this team and then Dallas next week? Because then what's everyone going to be saying? Well, they're 12-1. They ran through the hard part of their schedule, but goddamn, they got lucky. Goddamn, those refs helped them. Eventually, this team might just be that good. Jalen Hurts against winning teams, 14 straight wins. I don't give a damn what's wrong with the man. He looks different when he's playing against winning teams. When he ran the ball against teams like Washington and stuff, he looked like he was running with a little kid on his back, like an extra 80 pounds. You watch him run against Buffalo. He was running strong trying to get those first downs. The game-winning run, right up the gut, straight to the end zone. The dude gets up for big games. These two teams talked all back and forth all offseason.
Mm-hmm.
Trent Williams is the only offensive lineman I'm worried about for San Fran. I know he builds the entire unit, but just looking back on last week, Josh Allen was under pressure a lot in that game. But the difference between Josh Allen and Brock Purdy is Josh Allen's about 6'6", built like Big Ben, and he can run away from these guys and stay on his feet. They are going to murder Brock Purdy on Sunday.
You think they're going to get that much pressure?
They're going to get the pressure that they got in the NFC Championship game, and he's going to be under duress. That's how you beat him. He cannot deal with pressure.
You don't think that Kyle Shanahan? I trust Kyle.
Yeah, that's exactly what I say. I'm going to see a steady dose of screens. We're going to see delayed draws from McCaffrey. This is where having those healthy weapons is going to help the 49ers so much.
Run the ball outside. You better run the ball outside because he's not getting up the gut against Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis.
Sure. But I just think I trust Jalen. First of all, that you want to hear some more Eagles hate. I hate that Eagles coach. I think he's such a cocky asshole. But if you take coaches, versus one another, I know sometimes you compare units and everything. Yes, obviously Jalen Hurts has it on Brock Purdy, but Brock Purdy is a very efficient distributor in this offense with 4 amazing weapons. If you give me coach on coach versus coach, I am taking Kyle Shanahan in this matchup, and I think he will scheme
my one rebuttal to that. What has Shanahan showed you that makes you want to take him in this matchup over Sirianni? Because they both did the same thing in their careers. They've both just made it to the Super Bowl and lost. Shanahan's just made it there more times and lost than Sirianni has. We've watched Shanahan choke in big games, like make bad decisions. Sirianni really hasn't made that yet in the big game.
Some of this is weird, though, right? I mean, Shanahan dialed up the dime that Garoppolo overthrew.
Yeah, he dialed up all the passes that Matt Ryan threw.
Shanahan didn't drop the interception that the year the Rams went, right?
Yeah.
So some of that coaching stuff can be overrated.
We do like Shanahan's teams, but
Tyler's got a good point. Pardon?
I said Shanahan's not going to throw the pick that Brock Purdy throws on Sunday, but in the end, the Eagles are still going to win.
I don't know. Well, I mean, I did tell you guys on Monday when I was so angry, I said, please Bacon, lucky as shit, and gets all the calls. Bake that into the projections. I don't know how you bake that into the projections, but be sure to bake that in because I don't want that to throw. I mean, They are just so. I was watching that game with my family, and I was like, they are so lucky. It just blows my mind, and they get all the calls. It just is just.
If they win this one, Meg, and no matter how they win it, they get out with a victory and they win next week. Who beats this team outside of themselves?
49ers in Dallas.
If they beat them back to back this week and next week,
I still believe they could be beat in the playoffs by 49ers or Dallas.
Dallas isn't beating anybody in the playoffs.
I don't know. I think this Dallas team's different. I
know you do. We're gonna disagree there. That'll be the debate. We'll be on different sides next week.
I mean,
I'll be back on Team Eagles next week.
Clyde's with me. I just want to shut Eagles fans up. So 49ers for me. Thank you, Clyde. Clyde's on my team.
Other big thing, like you talk about home field advantage. Those fans had Buffalo's defensive line so worked up. There's pictures of their defensive linemen this close to the fan's face after the game, like ready to fight him. Jordan Phillips is up in this fan's face. There's a clip from Jason Kelsey talking about Jordan Phillips. He said he should be fined for a play because he said, even in the wording of this interview, he's like, I don't know what happened with the fans, what got him all worked up. But there was a play where I guess it was a quarterback kneel or something, and Jordan Phillips just ran full speed at the offensive line. And it was like you knew you were going off sides, just never stopped, ran right into the guy full speed and tried to hurt him. These fans are going to have these guys so worked up. They're already pissed off because they lost the NFC Championship game and they got excuses. Let the Eagles get a lead and let these fans get loud. You're going to watch this team get very frustrated.
I have a counterpoint to that as well, because I know these fans very, very well. And let me tell you what, that fan base will boo if they get it.
They will. If the Eagles get down, they will.
Yes,
boo.
Exactly. Say it goes my way, and say whether it's because Hurts is playing banged up, whether the 49ers defense is playing lights out, whether 49ers offense is playing, just putting up points right away, and it starts out 17-3, you're going to hear boos from a team that just went to the Super Bowl and is the NFC champions. You're going to hear boos to a team that's 11-1. I can't even do the math. 10-1, whatever their record is. You are going to hear boos to a one-loss team from those fans. So I don't think that's going to waver. Hurts, he's dealt with it before. He's used to playing in Philly and dealing with these fans already. But there's a counter argument to those crazy fans as well. That's all I'll say.
2 final points here. Clyde made some good points in the chat. 49ers extended rest after that Thanksgiving win. The Eagles coming off an overtime game against Buffalo, which was a little more physical than I'd expect.
That's what worries me the most, is being like my first part of the breakdown, where is this all right, we're going to see these guys again, more than likely. Let's just, if we lose, we lose.
Couldn't both teams be saying that? Do you think Shanahan's doing an Andy Reid and keeping a couple of them in his pocket too?
I could see it. And this is just like this game, like everyone's looking at this game like this is going to be like NFC Championship caliber, high-flying offenses. And I think you could see both coaches coach this with like a condom on their hand, where they're like, we are not going to show our hand because we don't want to give these plays any kind of film, because we know this team's probably in our way for the Super Bowl.
I mean, I do think I think it's 49ers Dallas or 49ers Eagles in the NFC Championship. So I get what you're saying, but couldn't it also be from the way this shakes out? So if 49ers
Sam Laporta just unmatched you for that one, Meg.
Sam Laporta loves me. He's going to love me when I fully start the official website, fan website. But okay, so if 49ers win, scenarios here really quick. So if 49ers win, and then to the opposite point of what Tyler said, say it goes the opposite way and Dallas wins, doesn't it then 49ers, because they beat the Cowboys, then have a chance to be the 1 seed? Right?
I'm looking right now. So as far as
we're all playing for the 1 seed and get a bye.
So with Philadelphia at 10-1 and San Francisco at 8-3, Philadelphia could afford to lose this game more. So they could afford to be a little more conservative. But on the other hand, Shanahan could say, you know what, we're not going to catch them anyways. So,
but I think they could. Couldn't they catch them if they win?
They could, but the Eagles would have to continue. Yeah, they could. They can catch them.
Yeah. I think then they'd have the time. I think that's how that would work. If say Eagles 49ers won outside of this week and next week for the Eagles, if they were all 10-3, or sorry, whatever, 14-3, wouldn't it be the 49ers with the 1 seed? I'd have to double check that, but I think so. I mean, yeah, I think the 49ers have a ton to play for. I can't imagine they'd be. I mean, I think
my final point on this game.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Why do the books are afraid of 49ers money here?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not 6 points better than the Eagles. And that's what this line says. If it's -3 in Philadelphia with one of the best home fields, I know that they've dropped home field to 1.5. The Philly has to be worth at least 2.5.
And take out the whole, like, just throw out everything we've watched all year with how this Philly team's got lucky. They've had everything break their way and how good the 49ers have looked. Just getting that line thrown at you, the first thing I think when I see that, the 2 top seeds in the conference and the away teams hanging 3, that doesn't scream trap to me.
Well, I think that they knew if they put 49ers -1 up, which to me is probably a more fair number, that would mean that the 49ers are 3.5 points better than the Eagles, which still seems like a stretch. I think they would have got flooded with 49ers money. So,
right.
I mean, they got.
My question is, how much is that line? Yeah, I mean, Tim says they're a well-oiled machine when they're healthy. Yeah, and I think that's it. And maybe to get to these numbers, to get to this -3, you're just throwing those 3 games with the injuries out. But I hate doing that because it doesn't. We can't even project that all 3 of those players will remain healthy during this game. It's going to be one of the hardest hitting games of the year. These guys are going to be out here blasting each other. So that's the other reason I don't like throwing out games, because when we throw out the games where they're injured, we're assuming they're staying healthy this whole game, which isn't necessarily a strong assumption. I'd say it's 75% likely.
You're talking about the 49ers right now, correct?
And the reason why in my model I don't throw out games when teams are injured, I just keep it as a mental note.
Right.
But I don't throw the games out.
Sure.
Because what if Trent Williams rolls an ankle right off the bat? What if Jalen Carter bull rushes?
I just say the same thing could be said for Hurts. I mean, I think we all know that he's playing banged up.
Right.
In some way.
And which is my point of why, I don't take games out on the model, even if Hurts missed a couple.
How much stuff do you break in the house if kickoff, San Fran gets ball first, they run ball on first down, get about 4 yards. Second play action, Brock Purdy drops back the pass. He goes to pull back ball to throw it. Same exact situation.
Don't even say it.
Sean Reddick smacks ball down. He's holding elbow. It's like, not again.
Not again. No, lots of things would be, I don't know.
Dude, my neighborhood would be crazy if that happened, Tyler. So many 49ers fans around me.
Oh my God, I'd lose my mind. I'd be like, there you go. It broke their way again. I mean,
domestic violence will be up in Northern California. That's for sure.
There is a narrative factor to the 49ers motivations and stuff. I mean, all offseason, you kind of spoke to it, Tyler. Deebo Samuel was saying we were heading to the Super Bowl if we had Purdy in that game. Well, now they get a chance to prove it. And I think they're extra motivated that they still have a chance for that 1 seed, to my knowledge. Again, I have to totally cross-check all that information, by the way. And I think they're extra motivated that they put on record that they said they should have been the NFC champions and represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. So I don't know. I think there's the narrative factor there too. But I just think when that 49ers, and obviously, Chase Young, I wasn't obviously super impressed with his full tenure, but he was very injured. But reuniting with Bosa, that defense looks like they're playing hot right now. When they have those 4 weapons, they just seem really, really, really hard to stop. And I guess the Eagles' offense has just felt bumpy all season. Like they've kind of then gotten over the hump and gotten there. But like up until those last couple drives, like when Hurts really put it together, and to his credit, I was literally thinking of what I was going to message you, Tyler. I was like, here we go. See, I told you. I was like, I had it all queued up. And then Hurts goes on a run. They tie it up. They win it. And I couldn't talk any shit. So
you had to delete the DMs.
I did leave. I had it all queued up in my head, ready to go.
Tyler, who would you rather have on the Steelers, Brock Purdy or Josh Allen?
Josh Allen. Offensive line kind of sucks, and tell me all the Yinzers wouldn't love to have Ben Roethlisberger 2.0.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. All right. So I have not talked you guys into making this official play because obviously Tyler wants the official.
It's not going to end up official. We're each going to bet it on our own.
We're all going to bet it on our own. Exactly.
Yeah. And it's not, we're not giving it out.
What do you call this on the NBA show? You call this the,
well, it's not a deal with it. So on the deal with it is when we put one on the sheet that the other person has said no to. But
deal with it. Okay.
Opposed, we won't. Like on on the ones we've each done, the other person, I don't know. I wasn't like in love with Miami. Like this one, I won't deal with it, and I don't think he will for me because we're both so strongly.
Okay, so it's not a deal with it play, but let's be honest, you're each you and Spread and I are going to
individually bet it opposite.
Yeah, exactly. And Tyler's going to bet the Eagles. Okay, all right, fair enough.
Tyler's going to be upset when you and I are trying to decide whether or not we want to go out for sushi or steak.
All right, well, I think we covered that well. It won't be an official play, but check out all the official plays on fanspeak.com. That you did hear their two favorite spreads. Now let's talk some totals. Spread, do you have any totals that you like this week?
We already gave you the Lions team total over, so we will give you another one. Of course, under in prime time can never hurt. We have an under projected there on the Seahawks game tonight. What's the other total that we really liked? That's crazy. I have a big over on that Falcons Jets. I don't necessarily love that one though. I wouldn't mind taking an under here on the 49ers Eagles. What do you think of that one, Tyler?
I don't mind it, but
we're not going to bet it. But if we were to,
the only total I liked on the board was that Detroit team total. Like I don't see any real just any unders or overs on the board right now.
What about, I mean, I'm not making a case to bet I can't even say it, to bet Washington, but what about the total? What if it's like the Dallas game? The Washington doesn't even need to do much, but Miami's going to nuke the slate and put up a ton on Washington. Or you could bet the Washington team, the Miami team total. I'd either advocate for Miami team total or an over in that game because Sam Howell does push back. Now, they only got 14 against Dallas, but Miami's defense isn't Dallas.
Yeah,
Miami did lose Jalen Phillips too.
I know, so sad.
That's going to hurt, especially because the Commanders' number one liability on offense is protecting Howell and his penchant for taking sacks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that look on Miami. The team total is 29.5. I feel like they could fall right in there, like 28. But that seems like a number for them here. But they should put up points here. Like this should be the Tyreek Hill big game, but he was limited to practice today too. So
I know he's been
limited. Mostert limited. All these guys probably play, but we've seen them limp off the field a couple weeks in a row. At some point, they're going to limp off and not roll back into the game 5 minutes later.
Right. Okay. I was just checking weather. It looks like the most showers could be in the Arizona at Pittsburgh, Atlanta at New York Jets. The other ones have a chance for showers on the East Coast, but doesn't look like anything that could move lines or anything like that. So, all right. Well, I wanted to advocate for that too, just because, I like to take advantage. If I'm going to suffer through the pain of our defense being so bad, I'd like to try to make money on it. I mean, hopefully I'll make money in the best ball streets just with Washington's defense. Get some of my Miami shares. We'll hopefully get a nice little bump this week.
I got a very, 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 very easy prop for you coming up, Meg. You're going to hear this yardage on this. You're going to be like, huh?
Yeah. Okay. Let me hear.
Freiermuth over 31.5 receiving yards.
Oh my God. I love
it. Do I need to say any more? The offensive change opened up the middle of the field. That's literally it. The dude led the slate in receiving yards last week.
Yeah. That was wild.
In one catch.
Yeah, love that. I mean, that's got to be your props thing. Well, does that take us right to, we covered spreads, we covered totals. You'll get all the official ones. Check out their sheet on fanspeak.com. I think we got your first official prop, Tyler. I mean, that's got to be it, right?
Yeah, 100%. That's the official prop is Freiermuth over 31.5.
I'm checking. Are most of the props up on DraftKings, right? Sorry, I had FanDuel pulled up.
Yeah, I see it on DraftKings.
Okay. I mean, I got to take.
I wonder what Bet Online's going to let me max this at.
Are you on the Freiermuth?
Yeah, they only let me do $100 or $200 usually.
Let's see. Hill, they're obviously hanging very high numbers on the Washington-Miami game, but I think I'm going to have Jalen, even though I love Hill, to go still over 100. I think Jalen Waddle, he went over, I believe, 110 last week. So I'm leaning Jalen Waddle over 66.5. I just think both receivers get there. I think, 3 or 4 Miami skill players can get there this week. So that's what I'm leaning towards at this. But again, all of the official plays will be up on the sheet. Tonight's will be up shortly, and then everything else will be up Saturday, but it'll definitely make sure we get Tyler's up with the Freiermuth line. And then I will probably be adding Waddle, and then I'll probably do like some fun alt things with Tyreek Hill. Any other props we see you see that stand out to you, Tyler, before we move on?
No, that was the only one that stood out to me right off the bat. I don't know, my guy Perfect Rotation just jumped in the chase, says he's late, but he's here. He'll agree with that Freiermuth over 31.5 receiving yards.
Love to see it. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, Perfect Rotation. You gotta love Tyler's calling the Freiermuth. I like him in DFS, and I definitely like that prop. Got to see. We'll have to check when we jump to anytime touchdowns here soon what that number is too, because that could certainly be in play as well. There was one other one I wanted to look up. I got to think about this one. Chargers defense. Patriots can't do much, but Ramondre Stevenson receptions, I wanted to look that up. His rushing line is 63.5. Want to run that by you, Tyler, or would you? That last week he was the one in Steve's winning 1 p.m. only lineup. Got there a lot on the receptions though, so let me check receptions. Just against that Chargers defense, New England's just depleted of everything. I don't mind though Ramondre Stevenson this week. Do you have any thoughts on him?
Yeah, I don't hate that call here. Ramondre should have a big game. He had a decently big game last week, and he's going to get all the work outside of Zeke's little 5-yard runs and everything. So,
I'm putting this. Yeah, I'm putting this on the sheet too. I said Waddle. Go ahead and make a second one. Ramondre Stevenson over 3.5 receptions plus 114.
Yeah, it's not a bad one. I like that one.
I mean, they're going to have to just check down, and he's the guy they're going to do it, with. And then the other, what's Kamara's receiving line? Because if everybody's out, that's when he tends to get, really stacked receptions. We had the reception line last week. It missed by
they
one.
won't even list the Saints all in DraftKings right now. It's just all the Lions players.
All right, so that's another one to just consider and look for, and we'll look and see what the line is to decide if we're actually gonna, make it a play on the sheet. But I mean, certainly with the depleted weapons for the Saints or banged up, I definitely think that's in play depending what the line is. So we'll see on that. Okay, well, let's jump to anytime touchdowns, and then we can get spreads anytime touchdowns too on that. But what's your favorite anytime touchdown of the week as of now, Tyler?
Yeah, looking at it right now, I mean, let me scroll through these real quick just to get the exact numbers on these. I was going to target somebody in the Washington game, but those numbers are terrible.
Yeah.
Let's go with. I think this is going to be a rather easy one in the end. He's going to get all the carries for the Colts. Zach Moss plus 105.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that a lot. I'm looking. I was looking and seeing what you see on the Washington side. Are you on DK or FanDuel?
DK.
You're on DK. So I was on FanDuel, and they didn't have all the games. So let me pull up. Go back to DK on that. Obviously, they know for though I hit a touchdown prop just to do a little victory lap on our sheet on Friday, Black Friday. We swept the board. We had Tyreek Hill first touchdown. Got that. Tyreek Hill, Astaire, and then we even said long shot Miami defense. Got all three, put them all together. Yahtzee. It was great. It was fun. That was a fun one. Another one that we'll talk. I know you and I talk about this, Tyler, when you talk about we talk about SGPs, and this goes for basketball and NFL or NBA and NFL, is those uncorrelated. And we talked about how I almost got Justin Fields the other day. I got it with, and I don't think Tua is getting his under in this game, but I did Tua under. And because it's such a condensed offense, I just did Hill 100 and Waddle 80 or something like that, and hit that on Friday. So I had a fun Friday. That was cool. Yeah, it was nice. Okay. So your official anytime touchdown is Zach Moss. I'm trying to write these down too. My official anytime touchdown. Well, spread. Let me go to you first, and then I'm still looking. Do you have an official anytime touchdown play that you like at this point?
Yeah, we're going to correlate it with my favorite pick against the spread of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I'll go ahead and take Mike Evans. I feel this is a generous price here. Offshore at Bet Online, I get plus 150. I thought it was going to be like plus 110 or plus 120. So I feel like we're getting a little bit of an edge right there. And I know you being a big fantasy guru, know how impressive Mike Evans is in the red zone. Should be able to take advantage here. Especially with this team probably playing loose with the lead, feeling good. Give me Mike Evans plus 150.
I love that. And I have to take one more victory lap that on the card last week. I believe we were 5-1 on props and 4-2 on touchdowns on Thanksgiving, swept the board on Friday, and then had a winning record, both props and touchdowns on Sunday. So hopefully we keep that rolling. And I like it with what we're starting with here on the Anytime Touchdown. So spread has at Mike Evans. Tyler has Zach Moss. For touchdowns, I am going to go. I'm trying to decide between a couple right now. Let me see. I think, listen, I'm probably going to put somebody from the Dolphins game, but let's go back to the Detroit game and give me Amon-Ra St. Brown to get back in the end zone at plus 115. He didn't on Thanksgiving, but I think he gets back in the end zone against the Saints. I also quite honestly love Montgomery Laporta, of course, but yeah, I like the price on Laporta as well, but I'm going to do Amon-Ra St. Brown. I like the Lions to win. You talked about their team total. That kind of correlates with that.
I was going for that. Was the two I was deciding between, Meg.
Yeah, you're two correlating with who you like as your
with my
plays.
picks, of course, right? I figure that's the easiest way, especially for someone like me that doesn't spend as much time on it as, say, the DFS guys. I'm trying to use.
And I'm obsessed.
The difference was I only had plus 110 on St. Brown, so I kind of just I'll go for a little bigger payout on two plays that I both like.
Yeah, I like St. Brown. I still like Laporte in that game. He got in the end zone on Thanksgiving. Think he could do it again here. And then, I will say, Tyler alluded to, I love that Dolphins game. I'm very in on that in every way possible. I talked about alting some things. You'll see all the official plays by Saturday, but I wouldn't even mind doing like either a Mostert or Hill touchdown and win. I did that again Friday too, as part, so to kind of get the odds up. So you could approach it that way, Tyreek Hill and win, Mostert touchdown win, one of those ways, because I quite honestly think both are scoring. So I think that's another way to approach that. So any other anytime touchdowns that you guys want to throw out? What's Freiermuth's price, Tyler? I'm just curious.
Let me get back to that one real quick. I was looking at the other guy in that game, Pickens.
Yeah, I think he could get back. Just the offense just clicking more. I like it. He mentioned in perfect rotation. Was he the one that asked about Pitt?
I have Freiermuth at plus 290.
Okay, I kind of like that.
Plus 290. That means we're getting like a 4-1.
Yeah.
Yes, we did talk about the Pitt. We didn't want to, the spread's a bit high. I definitely think Pitt's going to win, or Steelers are going to win. Definitely like this offense a lot better. And from a props perspective, obviously, Tyler loves the Freiermuth and prop. We all love the Freiermuth prop. And I do think like a Pickens or Freiermuth, or even, you could even, if Najee's still at plus money, I got to see the breakdown on the goal line carries, but he obviously got in last week. I hit an anytime touchdown parlay with him in it last week. So yeah, I think a couple of those Steelers are in play. What is the price on Pickens? Sorry.
There's no touchdowns up for the Steelers game.
Okay. There's no touchdown. Okay. So
I have Pickens at plus 240 on Bet Online.
Okay. Well then, based on the prices you got, if we're getting decent prices on either
prices, total of the game, both those touchdown scores are coming in over 3-1.
Oh, I like that. There you go. I like that. All right. Well, that covered. So we covered spreads, we covered totals, we covered props, covered anytime touchdowns. Any final thoughts before we talk Thursday night football? We've got Seattle Dallas tonight.
Let's hit it.
Let's go. We got Seattle Dallas. I'll go to you first. Spread. How do you see this game shaking out? Let me see. Look at the spread. We've got Dallas is favored by 8.5. Of course, that Jerry World totals 47.5. How do you see this game shaking out?
Yeah, the new 30-second just put it in the microwave style handicap would just be take the under, since it's a primetime game. But I figure you want something a little more in depth than that, but I can't help you that much here. I have this game projected around 29-19, giving you a slight edge for the Cowboys here. And with the Seahawks, all good things must come to an end. And as cool as this Geno Smith story has been, and he did have that nice little run, but we've seen this before with quarterbacks and players in any sports where they can play above what their actual ability level is for short bursts of time, right? So Geno played excellent last year. I feel like this year he's kind of regressed to where he really is. And in the current league, that's pretty good. But overall, right, Meg, we've talked about, and I've had it stand corrected here, the decline of quarterback play. And you can't necessarily blame the line. I think Seattle does a pretty good job of protecting them.
Yeah.
Definitely's got the weapons. I mean, some of those passes that Tyler Lockett
that JSN
makes,
catch was amazing.
Yeah,
that was like
all
their
of
one
them,
bright
right?
spot on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, these guys definitely have stuff to get them done. But unfortunately here, I love Pete Carroll, especially as an underdog. That didn't work out last week. And we're going to have a similar situation tonight. Not only are they going to be facing a fearsome defense, but they won't even have the home crowd with them to back them up. One cool thing for us, Meg, this is a Thursday night game where both teams have had 7 days to prepare.
Right. They both had.
Can we get with the program here? And just for my own little soapbox, I'm hoping that we see a high quality football game with a little bit more preparation. I already said the ratings are through the roof no matter what, so they have no incentive really to change. But I would hope that this goes well tonight and that we see more teams better prepared, because it's not that I'm against watching football on Thursday night. I'm against watching teams on 3 days rest, no preparation time. So we'll see how that affects it. Maybe it goes over because the teams actually have more time to install a game plan like they usually do. But unfortunately, I love the Seahawks. I even got the slippers on, Meg.
Oh, the slippers are on?
Cowboys, I think the Cowboys are the right call here. Even at -9, I think the Seahawks are going to struggle, and it might be a rough end of the year here for the Fighting Pete Carrolls up there in the Pacific Northwest.
Well, yeah, and I mean, Geno's still playing banged up. I don't know the status of his injury. Have you guys heard anything about injury updates? I know that was well documented on Thursday night. Do you guys know any injury updates for him?
No.
The thing is, once you think off of last week that you're not going to get much anyways, as far as like actual information.
Right.
And credit to him for not making excuses. Yeah. But that could be another thing. Maybe he actually is as good as he was last year and he's playing banged up all year and he returns to that. But for the sake of handicapping this game, I don't think he healed over the course of the week. So I assume that we're going to get the player that we saw last week and not the player that we saw last year.
Right. Especially just 7 days rest. He doesn't get the whole Thanksgiving, long week situation. So yeah, I agree with you there. I'm on Dallas tonight, obviously. And I'll get into some props that I like in a minute. But Tyler, how do you see this game going tonight?
Yeah. Sorry. Me and my buddies are somebody in the group chat was like, where's Gronk at in the tight end list? And everyone's trying to argue Kelsey's better than Gronk. And it's like, yeah, that's just not a thing. It's just not how this
works. Who's the best tight end ever, Tyler? I can't wait to hear this.
I think it was Gronk, but I didn't see the other guys play that much. My 2 and 3 would be Gonzalez and Gates. I caught the ass end of those careers. I think those guys are very good from what I've seen. When I watched them play, they were already like 36, 37 years old. So it's like, I didn't see them when they were in their 20s.
Right.
Brett's probably going to tell me what the hell was that white dude's name for San Fran back in like the 60s? I remember getting him on like my Madden Ultimate Team. What's his name, Spread? His last name.
I don't know the one in the 60s. The one that I was going to say is Kellen Winslow.
Okay, yeah. That's a good one.
Who played, I believe, for the Browns in the mid 80s there.
All right, let me ask you guys.
Todd Christensen's one of my favorites, but he's not the best of all time. I would argue Tony Gonzalez a little bit ahead of Gronk. And my argument would just be based around if you switch the eras, Gonzalez would have had those same stats.
Oh my God. Yeah, Gonzalez with Mahomes is ridiculous.
Right.
And my last argument for these guys is we're talking best overall tight end in the league right now. It ain't Kelsey. It's Kittle. Kelsey's lack of blocking doesn't let him be the best overall tight end. He's the best pass catching tight end. Don't get me wrong there.
Sure, right.
But he don't block, so he can't have that title. But into tonight's game, I mean, just like Perfect Rotation said in the chat. Don't get cute here.
Yep.
The Geno fun ride is over.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have their star running back. The pass rush is going to be all over them. I think Pollard scores a touchdown tonight and has a decent game. I'm not going to go in on the passing game with CeeDee Lamb because of the corners on the Seattle side. I do like Jake Ferguson at the tight end. He gets a lot of red zone looks. So it's a Ferguson and Pollard night for me. And I think the defense could get in too. You've seen defenses score in almost every primetime game. They're going to pressure Geno. He's going to throw a bad pass. Bland might break the record right here tonight.
I mean, you called it for the Washington game, and yeah, I think you could definitely he could run it back again. Absolutely. Actually, speaking of that, Tim asked kickers and defense in DFS tonight for sure. The Dallas defense, and then yes, I think you could, especially indoors, look at kickers too, if it's a salary permit and everything. So, absolutely, yeah, I think we're all in lockstep here. We all like the Cowboys tonight. Like the Cowboys defense, like the Cowboys weapons. Don't like a lot on the Seattle side. I already took the uncorrelated, the Megan uncorrelated quarterback special that I got on Friday, missed by one long pass by Fields, his only long pass, on Monday, and going back to run it back tonight. Geno Smith under, Lockett and Metcalf over. So we'll see if I get that totally uncorrelated. Makes the odds go whoop. But I like Geno's under tonight. But let's talk first touchdowns because we've hit plenty of this season. So let's have a little fun with that. Spread, you go first. What is your favorite first touchdown of the night and the odds on that?
All right. I don't want to go here.
I know I'm trying to decide too. It's clearly going to be a Dallas, probably for most of all of us, I'm guessing, but we can share the wealth of which Dallas player or unit we pick.
I'll go Dak Prescott plus 1100.
Oh, okay.
I just think that he's been moving a little bit more, and that's one of the reasons that he's played so much better statistically this season. I think now he's finally getting healed from that injury, showing some of that mobility that was allowing him to flash and take Tony Romo's job in the first place. Not only is he able to extend the play, he has been picking up some first downs. We know, we've talked about it multiple times, how these zones get real tight within the red zone. But when every player is covering players such as CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson, and Brandon Cooks, maybe a lane there for Dak to sneak it right in. Give me plus 1100 on Dak Prescott.
I like it. Tyler, I want to know if you're going where I think you're going. Who's your favorite first? Go for it. Yeah.
I think there's two ways this game goes. Either A, this looks like some of the other Dallas primetime games, and it's like, oh shit, there goes the defense to start the game. They're in the end zone, 7-0, 25-1. Geno makes a bad mistake.
That's where I thought you were going.
The other one I like is, I think this is more likely to happen. The offense works its way down the field. Jake Ferguson is due for a touchdown, 10-1. I can see him being the first guy in the end zone.
I like that. I like that a lot. I mean, I think we could take the whole Dallas board because I think Pollard and Lamb are certainly in play. I like the Dallas defense long shot. I like Ferguson. I like Dak. I'm going to go as my official play though. Brandon Cooks at 14-1. He's got in the end zone. I believe 2 out of 3 of his last games. He's had some good games coming off the bye. Obviously got in the end zone last week against Washington. And you could get him at 14-1 for the first score. I also like his odds for anytime touchdown. So I just think they're getting him more involved. It was a very slow start those first 6 weeks before the bye. And also Dallas had so many very one-sided games, which I know this could be as well. But even in these one-sided games post-bye, they have found a way to get these weapons going, which I think is important to the overall, for the offense moving forward to be that playoff caliber, potentially NFC East winning team, Tyler, win that NFC East, those Cowboys. God, that's so gross that I'm like rallying for the Cowboys over the Eagles.
I just don't get it, Meg.
Oh, that Eagle hate runs deep.
It is so deep. It is so deep. I know, because you were like raised in Washington. You're raised to like hate the Cowboys. And I do. Let me be clear. I do. Like it goes Eagles, then right under it Cowboys, and then Giants for the hate of the NFC East. And I kind of think that's the same for Giants fans. Ask Ask our guy, who's our Giants friend?
Joey Work.
Yeah, ask Joey Work. I bet for him, Eagles and Cowboys are very close, and then Washington's underneath.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. Well, the way Joey Work is, I wouldn't be surprised if all three of those teams are just lopped into.
Sure, that's fine. That's fine. I'm just saying, for most Washington fans, I know it runs about the same. That it's Eagles, Cowboys, and then Giants hate is way, way, way lower. But I don't know. Yeah, the Eagles hate runs. Don't get me wrong. I'm raised to hate Dallas, but I don't know. I kind of respect this. I do hate them. I don't want to see them win the Super Bowl or anything, but I do respect.
I still can't believe you like Dak so much, Meg. His best highlight is in the box score.
No, he's not. He's a good quarterback. Yes, he does. He is a good quarterback. Did you hear? I mean, I know Aaron Rodgers likes being in the news. Did you hear Aaron Rodgers talk about him? His cadence, his checking things at the line, his progressions. It's not.
Did he watch that in his film room in the dark?
That was good. That was very good. I like that.
Yeah, reminded me of the time I watched the Tennessee Titans versus Los Angeles Lambs on mushrooms, and I didn't know if the ending really happened. It was to the 1 yard line.
Oh my God,
so.
That's good. Anyways,
I respect Dak as
I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's a great quarterback. Go ahead.
I know you hate the Eagles and the Cowboys. I just wanted to mention the NFL team that I hate the most is the Los Angeles Lakers.
That's why I respect you when you're
transcend sports, all sports. The Lakers hatred.
Yeah, that's why I respect your Lakers hate, because I have like that strong of hate for the Eagles and Cowboys. So, but for some reason, I really do think Dak's a great quarterback. I really do think this team could be different this year. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, I think they're going to smash tonight, and we're all over the Dallas first touchdowns, probably all over just the Dallas anytime touchdowns. But to finish the show, why don't we build a same game parlay, see if we can hit a little SGP for this game. And I will let you go first, Spread. I am on FanDuel, if that makes any difference, but I can go over to DraftKings if it's only over there. So what do you like, Spread, for our same game?
Let's assume that the Seattle Seahawks will be playing with a huge deficit. Should make things a little easier for their passing game to get going when they're down by 17 a couple minutes ago in the third quarter, right? And they're going against that nice prevent. So give me DK Metcalf over 63 yards.
I like it. Okay, let me grab that. Okay, Tyler, what do you got for me?
Muted.
Where are we building this at, Meg? FanDuel, DraftKings?
I'm on FanDuel. In fact, and it looks like on FanDuel, you can get him. He's 60.5 on FanDuel. Is his line. So I have that
for mine. Give me Pollard 70 plus rushing yards plus 110. We get a little plus money on that.
So you're doing a little alt. Okay. Yep. I like it. Just that positive game script, I assume, right? Let's see. Pollard all rushing 70 plus 110. And I'm going to do what I said I already put in, because it anti-correlates with Spread's pick. And I have hit this multiple times this year, and I love it because, okay, so right now it's +6, 269 with DK Metcalf's over, Pollard plus 70 plus. You put Geno Smith over, you would get that up to +429. You put Geno Smith's under, +843. So we took a bet that could be +4-1, take it +8-1, because I don't think Geno, I think he's banged up. I think the Dallas defense is insane. Sam Howell was one of the first quarterbacks to throw for over 300 yards against them. And that was purely, I understand, based on volume. I don't know that Pete Carroll's going to let him get there on volume. And I don't think Geno looks that sharp right now. So give me Geno's under to uncorrelate with Spread's pick. And that's DK Metcalf over 60.5, Tony Pollard 70 plus, Geno Smith under 227.5 for a same game parlay 843, which will be up on the sheet within an hour. I like it. Guys, final thoughts for this show, final thoughts for week 13, or final thoughts for tonight and final thoughts for week 13, Spread.
I couldn't go the whole show without mentioning that the Las Vegas Raiders do have a head coach from Compton.
Oh
and we're
God.
coming back strong next week, Meg. We're coming back strong next week.
Oh my God, that's right. You got the bye week. A lot of teams are on bye this week. A lot of good offenses on bye this week. But we got the Bills on bye, Ravens on bye. And then, you got
three of the top teams in the AFC: Raiders, Ravens, and Bills.
There you go. There it is. All right, Tyler, final thoughts for tonight and final thoughts for week 13.
Yeah, final thoughts. I think Dallas kind of romps them tonight. I think the Seattle fun train is over and they're going to sputter into the playoffs. Somebody's going to get a freebie in the first round. As for the whole week, I think we found some winners. I think we're going to find more on that sheet. And just pay attention to Twitter, too. Might tweet out a nice little parlay at long shots odds on some touchdown scores. So keep an eye on that.
Ooh, I like that. I loved our debate on my final thoughts are I loved our debate on San Francisco, Philly. I respect that it's not going to be on the sheet and we'll do our own thing and reconvene on that next week. But I so love your guys' pick on Detroit's total and the Bucks this week. But again, to get all their picks, go to the NFL betting card on fanspeak.com to see all their projections. Go to the sports betting tab. Again, I will have everything up for Thursday Night Football and everything up as what we have now, what we talked about up within the hour, and then check Saturday for a full NFL betting card. So for Tyler, for Spread, I'm Meg. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great week 13, and we will see you next time.